Buongiorno! My name is Nino Raboni Binamadangit. I'm from BSIT DIT Citas 27. ID number 411752. GE6. Today we are gonna discuss Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci was an Italian painter of the polymath. So basically a Renaissance man. And he was an architect, embalmer, musician, atomist, inventor, engineer, sculptor, geometer, and painter. He was described as an archetype of a Renaissance man, a universal genius, a man who was curious and innovative. Sources: Wikipedia. Born in April 15th, 1452, Acciano, Italy. So, born and raised. Died in May 2, 1519 in Château de les Caux Ambiance, France. So, France. He died in France. Periods include the Renaissance, early Renaissance, Renaissance, Italian Renaissance, Florence painting. So, he was everywhere and anywhere. So, full name is Leonardo di Ser Piero da Vinci. Mouthful but beautiful. Height is 0.75 meters. Translate that what you will. I'm not giving you a translation. Do your math. His art series include Madonna of the Young Wonder, Leia of the Swan, and he has also structures, Leonardo's Revelio. So, Leonardo da Vinci clearly is a multi-talented man. But how multi-talented is he? Well, let's just go on a tangent real here, right? Rumors were heard that he's just an inventor. Wrong. He has plans and blueprints for a hydro system of Italy to provide more water for the water canals. And he's an inventor because he drew concepts of a flying machine. So he could have done what the Wright brothers did way earlier on if he knew the exact physics of getting yourself up in the air. He tried to make helicopters. Obviously that didn't translate well. He built a tank. He built multiple weapons. He also had it was described here it was an atomist. So for you people, to put this in simple terms, right? An atomist is basically he knows much about the body. Thus, he is an amazing sculptor. And fun fact, he was a musician. This man was multi-talented in media. Look at that. I bet he will be a great YouTuber if he lived today. And he's also a geometer, architect. So he built buildings too. And let's continue. Let's learn more about him. So why is Leonardo da Vinci famous? Leonardo da Vinci was a famous engineer, but he is best known for his paintings, such as the Mona Lisa. Now, fun fact about the Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa was stolen at one point, and it was an unfinished painting by Leonardo da Vinci. Through time, people was curious of why on earth would anyone steal this painting in particular. Therefore, they would put mystical belief that this painting is the greatest painting of all time. Therefore, people misunderstood that, and it got famous, and it got overblown out of proportion. And and also he's known for the Last Supper. In my opinion, he's much better because very detailed. It's actually finished and it's not overrated, and there's much more. Honestly, we could go to a whole gallery, but this video will be 1 hour. I want to have better grades if I were to do that. Sir, give me better grades. If you want me to go off on 1 hour tangent, I would gladly do so. Just give me 100. I would gladly do that. So, fun facts about Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci was born in Florence, Italy in 1452. We already discussed this. Leonardo's parents were not married. Okay. Leonardo da Vinci was a huge animal lover. Now that is something I'm curious about. Is there any animal paintings that he did? I'm pretty sure if we dig deep enough, or we go to Italy and see the Louvre, and no, that's in France. We go to the Louvre, try to see his masterpiece. We'll go to the Leonardo da Vinci section. We'll probably find a dog. I really wonder if he actually has painted or sculpted or has at least drawn animals. That would be great. Leonardo was left-handed. Left gang rise up. Leonardo obviously had an amazing mind, believe it or not. Well, we already did this. But, fun fact, he did not go to school. So, take of that what you will. You know. Geniuses don't need school. People like me who are dum-dums are going to school. So, yeah. Mona Lisa is a portrait of his wife, Florente. This is official. So, yeah. Don't call the girl Mona Lisa. That's Florente. It's just a title. So, yeah. Someone stole a painting of Leonardo's wife that was unfinished, and it has now been blown out of proportion to the point that it is more valuable than any NFT combined. So, there you go. Let's see here. How did Leonardo da Vinci die? A stroke. He died from a stroke. Fortunately, he died at 67 at 2nd of May 1519. And then it says here possibly a stroke. No, he did die from a stroke. There is no possibly a stroke. And then here's what breaks hearts here, folks. He had offended God. He offended against God and men by failing to practice his art as he should have done. This man on his deathbed claimed that he failed God and man, as in humanity in general. This man hasn't failed. This man has worked to the best of his abilities, only that his body had failed him. Hey, I didn't know him. Maybe there was like a period where he took a break and he felt the need to say that, but we don't know that. He doesn't have a memoir. He doesn't have like accounts. So all we have to do is appreciate this man's talent, because he has done more than any of you combined. Yes, I know that. Yeah, so his friend was on his deathbed when he heard that. It's quite unfortunate, really. So, you know, let's just move on. So, yes, Leonardo da Vinci was a genius. He has fields in anatomy, hydrodynamics, etc., etc., polymath, pioneer in fields. You know, your basics. He's kind of quirky like that. So, my goodness. Mona Lisa was believed to be worth 850 million. Bruh. And on another tangent here, the reason why this was worth is that rich people used paintings such as the Mona Lisa to transfer money without, getting taxed, not being caught by money laundering, because that's technically purchasing and using like loopholes. It's kind of unfortunate that paintings are now being used such as that, but hey, fun fact for y'all, that's the reason why it's worth a lot. And honestly, every time I look like an outrageous number, it's usually rich people just getting past laws, and I think that's disgusting. But the painting itself, magnifique, al dente, you know what I'm talking about. Did Da Vinci try to build a child? It was clear that he was so. Long story short, right? He had a horrible childhood, and he had a wife, and he wanted to make a child, but obviously, he can't just make a child. That's for the woman to do. So that's the magic and God-given right for a woman. So he can't. And unfortunately, his childhood of Leonardo was always with his grandfather, because his early life was only with his mother. And I can only assume, and this is just an educated guess, is that he had a rough childhood. But who knows? Maybe mom and dad didn't want to see each other because they had a huge fight over some money. I don't really know. So I can leave it up to speculation. So anyway, let's move on. Michelangelo Buontorradi. That is the best of my ability to pronounce his name. Trust me, it gets even weirder and difficult, but I love it. Michelangelo Michelangelo di Vodvinco Buonarroti Simoni, better known as Michelangelo. That is a mouthful of a name, but it's a cool name nonetheless. He is a sculptor, architect, painter, and poet of the Renaissance. Multi-talented man, just like Leonardo. So, born on March 6, 1475, Caprice, Michelangelo, Italy. Maybe he got his name from the thing, like the place where he was born. He died at February 18th in Rome, 1564, Italy, of course. Also known for Italian Renaissance mannerism, and known arts as David, Pietà, Last Judgment, Sistine Chapel ceilings, and so much more. And he has siblings as Giovan, Simon, Buonate Simoni, and Buonate Simoni. So, I butchered that so much. Italians, please don't kill me. Francesche del Dodo Menano di Selina and Lovitico di Leonardo Buonate Simoni. Pretty long name. Those are his parents. I shall try of my best of my ability to pronounce. What is he known for? What is Michelangelo known for? So obviously Sistine Chapel. That's the first thing that you would think about. And he has also some very good sculptors here, and he usually recycles old materials and turns them into masterpieces. So he's a world-renowned sculptor, painter, architect, and he was a forger. So basically your local hot blacksmith. So he originally was chosen to paint the Sistine Chapel. Now this is interesting. He painted the Sistine Chapel by himself. Do you realize how big the Sistine Chapel is? And he did that all by himself. That's crazy. David was carved from a discarded block of marble. Now, if you don't know David, basically, you know that one statue that has his, phallic object out and about and not censored with a leaf? Yeah, that's David. Now, that was made by Michelangelo. Now, if you look up David, you will know what it looks like. That was not, traditionally made by, having a sculptor marble. Basically, you order a clean slate, such as a 3D rectangle shape, and you sculpt whatever you want. Well, meanwhile, Michelangelo just basically saw a discarded block of marble that was supposed to be for a pillar, a house, etc. I don't know. And he made it into David, which is interesting because he just basically took trash and turned it into treasure. So, does Michelangelo believe in God? Yes, of course he was. But, he suddenly developed belief in spiritualism, and he was condemned by Pope Paul IV. And it was a fundamental tenet of spiritualism that path to God cannot be found exclusively through the church, but through direct communication with God. So basically, yeah, he was condemned for that. Then he died at 18th of February 1564. RIP. F. Died of old age. Moving on. Why is he important? Yes, why are we learning this, right? Why are we learning at all about these people? Now, for me, right, what I've learned is not only are you going to die and people will assume what you are and what you achieved, but instead you are going to die, and if you don't leave anything for you behind, people are just going to assume that you're just one thing and stereotype you as that for easier access of memory. Meanwhile, if you dig deeper, you'll know that they're multi-talented and you don't know them at all. So, as for Michelangelo, just like Leonardo, he was multi-talented, such as a sculptor, painter, architect, and widely considered one of the greatest artists of the Renaissance, and possibly of all time. Arguably of all time. Have your debate in the comments. His works are demonstrated with blend of sociological insight and physical realism and intensity never seen before. That is off the book's description from Google, but honestly, I just think that he is just a multi-talented person that got stereotyped again into just painting some random building or making some random painting about his wife, and no longer appreciated for that, and therefore we will never know that actually the most talented man in the Renaissance, both Michelangelo and Da Vinci, were actually more related to our course than ever before, such as actual engineering status, basic concepts and pioneers of basic engineering, and is multi-talented than you could ever imagine, and people only know you for being one thing. It's unfortunate. That's why we learn history, and that's why we have arts, because somehow we can relate it to our course, mechanical technology. So yeah, that was the end. Thank you for listening. My name is Nino Rabonibi Mandangit, ID number 411752, BSIT DIT27 GE6. If you haven't learned anything, please just rewind the video. If you can't input it in, look it up yourself, cite the sources, and yeah. Bye.